Alright, welcome to the stream everybody. This is my first attempt at this sort of thing. I don't normally commentate on races, I tend to simply live stream them myself. So hopefully it'll go well. This is Super Formula Tails League. Many of you will know it. I hope you will know it because, well, if you don't, you're living under a rock, frankly. Right now we're waiting for the sessions to begin. I think it's a fairly small grid today. Attendance doesn't tend to be particularly great, but hopefully we'll see a good race. We've got Tom, we've got Cams, we've got Lucas Fowley, Zatanius, Great, and Nitrous here at the moment. With Rabbit in a car as well, but I don't think he's racing. If he is, then it'll be interesting to see how he does. Tom is currently leading the championship, and he has got a very strong lead. Obviously, I have pulled out, so that's one of his vague championship contenders no longer available to, well, contend. Louis is his other contender at the moment, and we shall see if he is able to challenge. Tom is very, very strong in Super Formula, so it may not be the case. Qualifying gets underway. It is a 15-minute session. Set as many laps as you can. There's no fancy tricks here. Everyone starts their out laps, and we shall see who shall reign top. My pick would probably be Tom. He's strong everywhere he drives. But don't count Louis out. He is not a bad driver at all. Louis is still in the pits, however. I don't know what he's quite doing, but that is not what you want to do at all. On board with Tom now. Also on his outlap still. It's a reasonably long circuit, this one, Vichai. But not the longest I've ever seen. Unfortunately, I have died, so I have to do it the old-fashioned way. That's annoying. Tom begins his first flying lap. Down the start-finish straight into turn one. This section is very, very awkward. If you, especially in these cars, if you get it slightly wrong, you understeer wide, which sets you up wrong for this particular corner, and it sets you all wrong for the rest of the section. That turn one really matters for the rest of the lap. Then you get into these sets of right-handers. Again, it's awkward, but probably one of the more fun parts of the track. And into the long left through the fast left-right chicane. Easy to crash here, and if you crash here, it costs you a lot of time. Then through the double left into a tight right. Another fun section there. And Tom does it very, very well. No major mistakes yet, but I'm sure Tom would call that a crap lap. Then down into the downhill right. Very awkward corner, that. And if you get it wrong, it'll drag you out wide. Into the left-right into another left-right. There's lots of left-rights here. Very chicane-heavy circuit. Hairpin's the tightest corner on the circuit, and Tom does it very, very well. The benchmark currently, as Tom will cross the line, is a 1 minute 0.7154. Tom has gone much quicker in practice. I think he set a 105.9, so expect him to go significantly quicker as the session progresses. Now we're going to have a look at Nitrous. Probably a midfield driver today. However, he's set some interesting practice laps. Don't count him out for a podium. Obviously right now everything's quite quiet. It doesn't help that the attendance isn't particularly high, so there's not much action on track. But we'll try and make of it what we can. Seems like Louis is struggling a bit. Just saw him pulled over on the edge of the track there. He hasn't put in a lap yet, and he took a while to get out of the pits, and he was also pulled over. But we'll see if he can recover. There's only a few minutes gone of the session. There's still 11 minutes remaining. Nitrous makes an error. Not good from him. He is sat in P2 currently, but nobody seems to have set any representative times yet. Got some issues in the paddock as someone is trying to drive when they shouldn't be. Very naughty of them. Apologies if I'm shit at this. This is my first time, so we've just given it a shot. Tom setting a purple lap time. Sector 1 purple. We will see if he carries it through the rest of the lap. Purple sector 2. This is looking quick, but he makes an error into the downhill corner, turning in just too early. Track limits are very punishing here. If you slightly cut, there's a wall there. Some of it very akin to a street circuit in a way. It's obviously very much not a street circuit, but the track limits can be that of one. Unfortunately, that's a binned lap for Tom, but he has another 10 minutes to set laps. To have a fly around of the circuit, to show you the overhead view. Not a bad looking circuit. It's not my favourite that I've ever seen, personally, in terms of layout, but I'm sure some others find it very enjoyable indeed. On board with Rob. Not anymore, because I'm messing this up. Don't mind me. Don't normally do this stuff. It's I normally just stick a camera somewhere and focus on making people not crash. Tom does set a faster lap. No purple sector 1 and 2, but I think his original lap before he made that error into the downhill right was a much better one for him. Still 106.4. Only half a second, I think, off his personal best. Nitrous Davy in second, 8/10 off of him. Louis, I'm sure, will go quicker, but Louis currently having some sort of issues. Jack goes into third on a 107.4. We're on board with Rob, who sits in fifth currently. In terms of third through to about 6th, 7th, it's reasonably close, just over a second between them all. Obviously, hopefully the gaps will come closer, not further apart. We shall see. Tom setting another purple sector 2 there. Very good of him. We'll be seeing a lot of those from him. No improvement for him. 2/10 off of his current session best. Louis seems to have finally started a good lap. He's coming around the final corner. He's around 6/10 off of Tom, so that will see him around the low 107. So we're looking around P2, and indeed P2, 107.0 for him. 6/10 off Tom. It brings the gap down to first position. Still 6/10 to close. A very, very big margin. Louis in the wall. Makes a mistake, however, second place for now. We'll see him in a good position for the race if he can hold it. So shouldn't be too worrying for him at the moment. Although that lack of consistency he's showing could be a concern. We could see a heavy battle for the podium positions for him. Louis pits, in fact. Stop setting laps. Is that to practice a pit, or is that other errors or other issues? No, it seems like he's parking it. Obviously, I'm not in their voice chat, so I don't know what is going on, so I'm kind of having to guess a bit. But it seems like Louis is done for now. Back on board with Tom, seeing what he's doing. 6 minutes left of session. Coming towards the closing end, we're about 2/3 of the way through now for this first live stream. Louis decides to end the session, not due to an issue, but simply due to the fact that he feels like that's a good enough lap. Nitrous is up in third as predicted. He has some okay pace, and he is in third. However, between P2 and P6 is 8/10, so any small improvements could see a gain in position of at least a position or two. Another error for Tom. It won't particularly matter though. He's got a mighty gap in qualifying. Now we're gonna see what Great is up to. Great's sort of on his own at the moment. He's setting some good laps in fourth. I didn't expect him to be one particularly to keep your eyes on, but the pace for the midfield and the upper midfield seems very close. So, well, we talk 8/10 from second to sixth, but from second to fifth, it's half that. It's 4/10. It's a very close bit there, and each one of them has an equal chance of being on the podium. It's a two-race format, a sprint and a feature. The feature is a reverse grid of the first race. So the winner will start at the back, and the last position will start at the front. Down towards the bottom, we've got Reichs, Arnout, Chams, Terminator. Pace is reasonably close between the whole field, about 2.7 separates everybody. And hopefully it leads to a good race. Attendance seems a little better now than it was earlier. We were looking at about only 6 or 7, but it seems to have fleshed out a little bit, which is very nice to see. Few green sectors here and there, but it seems like, as this circuit very much is, hooking together a lap in every sector is not easy. I've raced here plenty. Don't like the circuit, but it is a very big challenge. 3 minutes to go. The session begins to come to a close. People have about 3 or 4 laps left of lapping. I think really we've got the rough order of what we're going to see. Not like F1 qualifying where all the good laps are set right at the end. People have set their rough pace already. We might see a couple position changes right at the end, but no, nothing major. Terminator makes an error there. Not sure if it was a particularly good lap. 27.1 sector 1 is 6/10 off of Louis Green, so that's already looking down to be in around P5 and 6, and obviously you've then got the rest of sector 2 and 3. However, here is our current pole sitter. He's been on provisional pole the whole session. Set a 107.1 initially, which would still put him P2 even now, but very quickly improved to a 6.4, which is currently where he sits. He set a couple of laps that were looking better, but obviously mistakes brought that right back to a slower time. Just 2 minutes left of session. Tom will get about 2 more laps in. The next one and the one after that. Nobody particularly improving right now. Great on a reasonable sector 1. What looks like a reasonable sector 2. Coming through the last sector, cutting it very, very tight to that corner. You can cut it, but the more you cut it, the more you risk crashing. And especially in that corner where there's a little edge where you can go through, you don't want to be too risky there, otherwise you could get stuck. Very consistent lap there, just 300ths off of his current session best, but not an improvement for him. If he were to find about a 10th, he would be P3 right now. Rob does improve, and it brings the field even closer together. Second through 8th are all in the 107s. And we are talking hundredths for positions here. Great running very deep there. A very respectable sector 1 from him there, but running deep into that corner will have cost him that sector. We're seeing Jack on a green lap now. Oh, but he absolutely bins it into there. I assume he clipped the inside wall and it just launched him straight. Was looking like a good lap there. We're in the final few seconds of the session. And that is session over. Everybody has just entered their final laps, I believe. Great is done. Yep, great pause over. What we're going to see now are the final laps for people, and we're going to see the grid come together. Tom's on a purple. Rob does not improve. He is done for the session. Everyone crossing the line. Terminator improves, but it's not enough. He will remain P9. Tom, on a very quick lap, his sector 2 is a bit down. I sense he will not improve. Tom pits. Nitrous does a good sector 3, but not enough for an improvement. His other sectors were too weak. Lucas come around the final corner. Sloppy sector 1 from him, but a good sector 2. And no improvement from him. Mistake in sector 3. I believe that just leaves Rabbit now on a lap. Will he pit? No, he continues the lap. He's been struggling throughout the session to get any pace. And unfortunately it seems like he will be the outlier here, sticking around the back, but sometimes you need people to fill that grid up. He does improve, but it's 7 seconds off the top. Not a lap he will be happy with. Or maybe he will. But yeah, sometimes you just need those people to fill out the back rows and just show that you have a few more people, even if they're not very quick. So that leaves Tom on pole for the first race. Louis is second, Nitrous is third, Great fourth, Jack fifth, just 4/10 between the second and fifth spots. Lucas is sixth, a little bit back. It seems like you'll have Tom, then you'll have second through fifth, and then you'll have Lucas back. Lucas sixth on a 107.8. Zatanius is seventh, just 600ths behind, and Cam's even closer, 200ths behind Rob. Terminator in 9th, Reichs in 10th, Arnoot in 11th, and Rabbit rounds out the grid in 12th. I believe actually Arnoot is... No, I think he is. I think he actually got permission in the end to race. That is your grid, and coming up will be the race. So as they grid up, we will give you some information. Tom currently leads the title by approximately 48 points. Not approximately, exactly 48 points. I was in third. I don't really count now as I am clearly not racing. Toodles has a massive, massive deficit and he's down in fourth of around 90 points. So really, it's between Tom and Louis for the title. I think we really know who's going to win that battle. Looking through the rest of the standings, you have got Phil and Sam on 50 with Nitrous on 47, Bing Bong on 40, Legit on 39, Chams on 23, Zatanius on 21, Lego on 20, and then it goes down beyond that. There could be some very big shake-ups in the order, especially for some of the lower positions. There are 4 rounds left of the championship, potentially 3 depending on if one of the rounds is filled or not. 17 lap race. No pit stops for the sprint. There are pits for the feature race. Here we see everybody gridded up. Thomas P1, Louis P2, Nitrous P3. Those are your top 3. We just wait as everyone prepares. In terms of wins this season, Tom is dominating the way. 10 wins, 10 podiums. In races, he's either finished off P1 or not on the podium at all. Myself and Toodles also have a win between us. I have 6 podiums, he has 2. Louis, however, is second best on podiums with 9. In terms of the team standings, Team Impel lead the way on 193. That is Tom and Sam. Sam hasn't been active recently with some technical problems, but obviously Tom is holding his team up very well. In fact, Team Nakajima, which is myself and Toodles, have less points than him combined. So it's a very comfortable lead for that team. B-Max doing a good job in third, which is just Louis. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a teammate. His teammate would be Polska, but Polska does Polska things. Looking through the rest of the calendar, we have Yongam and Suzuka coming up with one unconfirmed circuit. Just waiting for those lights to start up, and they do. The lights are on. Who will get the good start? Who will get the bad start? And lights are out. Tom and Louis equal start. Nitrous a fairly poor one because Great is now because Great is right on him. Tom and Louis very close. Nitrous and Great very close. Great up the inside but taps the wall. Everyone is side by side. Good start for Arnoot. And, well, Rabbit is Rabbit. Louis has a very poor corner there. And I have mucked up my fly. There we go. Louis a very poor corner. Nitrous and Great right on him. Nitrous and Great side by side. Absolutely neck and neck. Louis another poor corner. Gets a good exit, however. Closes back up to Tom. Great and Nitrous side by side. Nitrous tucks in, however. Jack right there. Cams and Zatanius side by side. Very good starts there for just about everybody. Lucas and Terminator inside of each other, cutting the corner. Got to be very, very careful when you do that, not to hit the inside wall, and they both were very, very sketchy. Leading into turn 1 will be Tom. Louis has maintained a gap for the rest of the lap. He had a bit of a shaky start there. Jack and Nitrous side by side as Jack actually took the position. Jack makes a slight error there, loses out to Nitrous, but Nitrous makes another error as well. Rob makes another error. Absolute chaos into turn 2. As everyone forgets, that corner is tighter than it is a lot tighter than they think it is. Everyone going through the next set of corners very smoothly for the top 4 though. Tom makes an error. Louis will take the lead. Great into P2, Jack P3, Cam's P4, Tom down to P5. This will spice up the race significantly. Now Tom has to really work for it, but he's charging through the field. Nearly already into 4th. 3 wide down the back straight. Tom is 5th, but he will very quickly snap up those positions as if they are, well, ants, I guess you could say. Something small. Tom into 3rd. Great, hold on to 2nd. Louis holds on to the lead, but how long will that be as Tom charges? Cams goes for a lunge, but I don't know why he did that. It's anti-glide racing. He just set himself up for a terrible corner there. Tom into P3. Great into P2. Louis has a reasonable lead up in P1, but Tom is on their backs. For the back, Arnout and Nitrous literally inside of each other, and Terminator just behind to snap up positions. Jack makes an error that drops out of the top positions, down into about 6th position. Great and Tom side by side. Tom goes for the position inside of each other. Who will get the exit? Great just about gets a better exit there. Jack has fallen down to 6th. I believe he was actually 7th before, but has slightly recovered. Tom into 2nd. And Great trying to defend the position, but Tom's speed is simply too much. Terminator and Arnout battling for the lower end of the grid. I believe that is for 8th. Now all Tom has to do to recover that lead is get past Louis. Be careful with that inside corner. To be honest, it's a deadly corner. And Lucas nearly finds it out the hard way. Leading on to lap 4 is Louis, with Tom in 2nd, closely behind. Great is 3rd. Tom has a very, very good turn too. On to Louis he goes. Just behind, tucks in. All he has to do is get a smooth corner. Try not to focus too much on Louis. On his end, he will be ahead, so that's an advantage. And on our end, he's now ahead. Very wide, nearly hits the wall, just about avoids it. Cost him time, but hitting it would have cost him more. Coming up to an early back marker, that's Rabbit. He's been having a struggle since practice, 7 seconds off the pace, and thusly he will blue for the leaders. The rest of the field have fallen a bit behind. The battle for the final spot on the podium is between Great and Chams. Chams doing very good, and he's been very, very competitive in road racing recently, and not just Super Formula. Nitrous and Jack, it's very much 2 by 2. You've got Tom and Louis. Great and Cams. Great has a really weird wiggle. And then you've got Nitrous and, I believe, Jack. Tom takes the lead off of Louis. Very, very, very smooth, very calm move. And that's what Tom needs. No unnecessary errors, just pacing himself out. That's what wins you races. Overall pace, no. Consistency, yes. Great and Cams inside of each other yet again. Great gets a really good exit. Those Cams just touches that grass. Nitrous has settled himself into P5. Jack and Lucas battling behind for P6. We are 5 laps into this race, and it doesn't seem to be settling down too much. And Rob makes a vital error, letting Terminator and Arnout through. He recovers it very well. Nice little J-turn there, but that's going to cost him a lot of time. Probably about at least 4 or 5 seconds there. Tom now has already a commanding lead there. And as long as he doesn't make any silly errors, he should pull away. Great and Cam still very close. Great has pulled away slightly this lap after Cam's error on the gravel, but they remain close. Jack and Lucas catch Nitrous just that little bit. You can see that Jack has closed up to Nitrous, but has pulled away from Lucas a little bit. You got a bit of a train going on now, and the early lap chaos has turned into a little bit of calm, especially as Cams makes an error that introduces Nitrous up to 4th. That gives Great a massive sigh of relief, but now it's a 3-way battle between Nitrous, Jack and Cams. Jack is defending very heavily from Cams, side by side. Cams takes a very, very tight line, though that's going to compromise him heavily, and he runs wide. That's what happens when you do that in that corner. You cannot take a tight line. You have to take the proper line. There is only one line through there. There's no alternatives. And that has cost him. Lucas is a lot closer now. Nitrous is holding on to that 4th place, but Jack is close. Cams is there in case both of them make an error, and Lucas is there if all 3 of them make an error. Jack takes a tight line, not a bad corner there actually for him. He has a very good exit on Nitrous. Can't quite make the move. Nitrous holds on to the position. Both inside of each other. They both are taking very, very similar lines through there, but Jack takes it just that little tighter and gets the advantage. Once again, good corners from them both. They have to be careful through here. If one of them makes an error, which neither do, very good corners. It's a very tight corner. You shit yourself if you go through every time you go through that corner. But they've both successfully executed it. Jack takes that launching line. Nitrous takes it smoothly. Both lines work, and they both gained about the same amount of time. Nitrous has a little wiggle there. Jack is very smooth. Nitrous runs a bit deep, but Jack overturns. Meanwhile, through the rest of the field, and Jack crashes. Jack hits the wall. And that say it's goodbye for now to the battle for 4th. Cams and Lucas, however, now kicking off. As Cams has fallen back a little bit, Lucas has got some good pace behind him. Just 3/10 for between P6 and 7. Now we have Nitrous and Rikes. Rikes unfortunately going a lap down, so that's not a battle. And Rikes does get lapped. Getting excited there, but I realise Rikes is not at all for position. Cams and Lucas very, very close. Cam seems to be struggling a little bit in this mid-stage of the race as we are on lap 8 now. Inside of each other, Lucas briefly overtakes him. Cam's on the gravel, wants to be careful there. And Lucas gets the position. Very, very smooth corner, whereas Cam's was a little bit shaky. Cams gets a nice corner through there. Very tight for Cams, that's what you want through there. Lucas was too wide, and Cams retakes P6. Once again, into the downhill right. Will either of them make an error? No, but Lucas was far better through it. Cam's wide, but Lucas even wider into the wall. Cam's retakes P6. But what they do into the hairpin? Lucas launches it through, but Cam's is wide. They both make an error through there. And the battle continues. The gap is pretty much identical to last lap. Meanwhile, for P1, Tom is stretching his lead out up to 4.5 seconds now. As I said, all you need is to build consistency and you're pretty good around here. Cam's being very, very risky through there. Getting very close to the walls. Very close to the walls. You do have to do that. But the more you do it, the more risk you take, the more likelihood of crashing. Lucas closed up a little bit through there. The circuit is very easy to lose time and gain time, so it's a very ebb and flow track, just as Jack makes an error. That means Cams is now promoted up to 5th, and the battle once again becomes a 3-way fight. Halfway through the race now, as we are going to enter lap number 10. Rabbit getting lapped for the 2nd time. He's really having a nightmare of a race, and it'll be a surprise if he continues after this or tries to develop himself a bit more. Cams takes a bit too tight of a line, but Lucas takes a worse line. Lucas now under threat from Jack, and Cams is a little safer. However, we see how inconsistent they've been in terms of pace, and this could very easily close up or open up. Jack taking a nice line there, closes up a bit more to Lucas, even very, very close to the wall there. He's right behind him. Lucas is going to have to try something new because Jack is right on him, now nearly ahead of him. Very good line for Jack there. He's playing all of his cards at once and he's nearly spinning it. Inside of each other. Jack very risky through there, and he very nearly pays for it. You saw he clipped the wall just ever so slightly there. He was lucky not to completely bin it. Jack seems to be going for the approach of all or nothing, and well, a lot of the times it's more nothing than all of it. Cam's running wide, Lucas playing it safe, and Lucas gets an advantage, but once again, Lucas for the 2nd time running wide and lets Cam take the position again. It's a carbon copy of what happened earlier. Cam's launching it, Lucas launching it, Jack takes them both. Into P5 goes Jack, recovering from his earlier error, up into 5th. They're all within 0.3 of a second. Into turn 1. They all take it reasonably well, reasonably calm. Jack gets on the grass slightly. Cams hits the wall. And Jack is the best of all three of them. But Lucas is still there. Don't count him out just yet. They all have about an equal gap to each other now. Jack takes a nice line. Lucas a little too early in the corner. Runs a bit wide. Cam's about the same. They're all still reasonably equal distance though. Jack takes a very nice corner through there. Lucas was a bit slow. Cam's now battling Lucas for 6th. And Cams is into 6th. Takes the title line, gets Lucas. But the battle will continue. Jack is now in a little bit of a pocket. Cams hits the inside wall, allows Lucas to retake 6th. Will Lucas make the mistake again? No, Cams makes it this time, and unfortunately that costs him. Lucas into 6th position. Jack is into 5th. Very good recovery for Jack there. Couple of big errors, and he has recovered from them. Tom extends his lead. He's not going to get much screen time today if he keeps doing this. However, there is a battle coming between Great and Louis, as Louis made an error at some point. I didn't quite capture it because there was a very big battle going on for 5th. However, Great and Louis very close. And Great unfortunately ends that almost as immediately as it started, even losing out to Nitrous and dropping it down to 4th after a very good 2nd place for a brief moment there. In terms of the battle for 5th position, that has also spread out now. Jack, Lucas and Cams are settling into their own little bubbles as various errors occur. We're in a position of the race now as we close on the final 5 laps or so, where everyone's in their own little bubble, settling into their own little bits of pace. And no major battles occur. However, Great has made another error as we say that, and is right with Jack. Jack has a potential for 4th here as Great is making so many errors. Jack, very good corner there. Jack is very good through turn 1 and 2 compared to quite a few guys. Very nice corner there. Takes P4 for now, but Great is still there. And good exit for Jack. Reaches the car length head. Great way too early there. But it seems to... very nearly hits the wall. Great way too tight there. And he loses out. Jack into 4th. Can he keep it or will he make another error? We have seen this track very prone to errors. And it seems like they will not stop anytime soon. Cams and Lucas look close as well. More battles forming. This race is just keeping on going. However, for now, no major overtakes going on. Jack and Great are the closest we're getting. Jack makes another error, loses out to Great. Great will take back the 4th. Jack has a very good hairpin though. Jack is about the same gap he was ahead as he is now behind. Great is now 4th. Jack 6/10 behind. Cams and Lucas are also about 6/10. Although the actual timer is saying it's 1.3, but it is not. Great has a bit of a tight corner there. Seems to get a better exit, but it seemed to compromise him a little bit. This is another this section is probably the most dangerous section. Great gets it right. Jack also gets it right. Jack makes yet another error. That might bring Cams back in for 5th. What was a battle for 4th is now back into a battle for 5th between Jack, Cams and Lucas once again. It only takes one error and you go from one position to another. Jack gets on the grass a little bit, gets a little bit weavy. Unfortunately, as the physics have changed now, grass is deadly. You have to either set up a car to be completely neutral on it, or it will just grab you and rotate you, which is very good in some cases, but deadly in others. And in this case, Jack lost quite a lot of time out of it. Very tight on the inside there. It didn't seem to really benefit him much. Good exit, however, out there. Gained a lot of time on Cams. Another very good corner. Very wide. If he'd have conked that any harder, he probably would have spun. But this is benefiting Jack. Lucas has fallen a bit further back now from the two. This could turn into a battle for 5th just between Jack. Great is slowly pulling from the 2. Rabbit having to get out of the way of the 2 because, once again, under blue flags. We enter the final few laps of the race, as Tom is now on to lap number 16 out of 17. Leading by a healthy margin. Jack runs wide, clonks the wall. Doesn't affect him too badly, luckily. 15-second gap to the lead. Tom is running away with this. It was looking shaky at the start, but he's pulling that lead further and further. He'd have to make a massive error now in order to lose it. However, it is not over for 5th. Seems like Jack's laps have miscounted at some point. And entering the final lap with Tom. He has absolutely dominated this race. Nothing could touch him. Everyone once again settles into their own little boxes. It has been a chaotic race. However, Cam seems to have made a bit of an error which has pulled Jack ahead quite significantly. Apart from a major error, Jack has got P5 secured. Tom enters through the final few corners. In the lead, Tom will take the sprint race victory. Very good race from Tom. That takes him up to an 11 win tally now. Louis in second. Not a bad race for him. He said in the race he was only looking for points. This is more than points. Nitrous will be that final podium sitter. I said don't count him out, and he is on the podium in P3 for Nitrous. Great. Ends up taking 5th somewhere along the line while watching Tom. Great, made an error. Jack takes the 4th position. Cams is in 6th. Lucas will finish 7th. Terminator will finish in 8th, quite a bit behind the rest. And Arnoot looking like he will be 9th. Indeed he will. Zitanius is 10th. Arnoot has decided he doesn't really fancy being a driver. He's just going to drive into a wall. Rikes takes 11th and Rabbit is the final position in 12th. That is your race 1. Moving in a minute to race number 2. Reverse grid for race 2. So this sees Rabbit on pole position. Rikes in P2. Robin P3. Arnoot in P4, Terminator P5, Lucas P6, Cams P7, Jack P8, Great P8, Jack P9. It is Nitrous P10, Louis P11, and Tom is P12 at the back. Generally, due to how the collisions work, reverse grids don't make too much of a difference. However, it could see people making slightly rash moves as they're desperate to get through the field, and that is what we are hoping for. The people we expect to do well this race are the same as last race. Tom and Louis will have a very good chance at the front. However, it's likely Tom's pace will be too much for Louis to overcome. However, Louis did look very good last race. He was reasonably consistent, just dropped off after lap 6 or 7 or so. However, for the first few laps he was holding on very, very well. Currently going through an intermission as we let people prepare for race 2. A couple of loo breaks and just a couple of people needing to go AFK for various reasons. But soon we'll be underway for the feature race. A longer race, 25 laps, 2 pit windows. You have to slow down for the line in this league, meaning if you speed into the pits, you receive a penalty, which are very, very harsh. Around, I believe, 5 or 7 seconds for just speeding, and they increase as you go faster into the pits. You do not want to speed because that will kill your race. The pit window for lap 1 is 2 to 12, and the pit window for the second pit is 13 to 24. It's a very linear pit window. Essentially, you can pit whenever you want, as long as you do it twice, and as long as you don't do it twice in the same window. Yeah, that's how it is. The pit speed in this league is 80 FPS. You can go up to 90 before you receive a penalty, but anything above that and you get slapped. Hefty penalty, and has and will kill people's races, but it is there for a reason. The lights are on as we prepare to start the next race. Feature race has begun. And it's a poor start from Rabbit, losing 1 position already, 2 positions already. Wright's off to a good start. Zatanius off to a reasonable start. Into turn 1. And Tom has made up no position so far, but this will change through the next couple of corners. Rabbit off. Wrights has gone all the way through the barrier. He's off the circuit. He will not stand a chance. His race is already practically over. Rabbit falling far back. Tom recovering positions like mad. Already into the top 6. Zatanius retains the lead. Terminator into second. Jack into third. Who will make an error? Louis makes an error. Not the start he would want. Tom into second will take the lead very quickly, I would imagine. Zatanius under threat. Takes a better exit. But Tom will charge there. He's nearly preparing for the move. Tom takes a far better line through there. Side by side, Tom is far better prepared for that corner. Zatanius off nearly into the wall. A few cars going wide into the hairpin, and Tom already has built himself a lead. A very, very good start from Tom there. And Jack into second. Louis didn't have a great start. Has fallen down into 8th position, but is fighting Cams for 7th. Cams has a better turn 1, but Louis will have a better exit for 2. Terminator great, and Zatanius fighting for 3rd position. Zatanius trying to hold on to what he can. He was leading the race, but is falling through the field as quicker cars overtake him. Very, very good chicane for him. Tom makes an error, runs wide, clonks the wall. Jack is back right on him. They both take very similar lines through the snail-esque section. Tom, however, gets the better overall line. Good exit there from Jack. Catches slightly to Tom. Louis and Terminator side by side. Terminator and Great into the pits. Both under the limit, but it decided it didn't really fancy doing anything. However, nothing has really changed. A few cars into the pits. Nobody speeding. Lots of people around 87. Arnoot also at 87. 2 more cars into the pits. As Rabbit and Reich's pit, both also are good under the limit. And it seems to be spreading out a little bit as people pit at various points. Louis and Lucas in a battle, but Louis has just a good enough gap for now. Nitrous and Arnoot battling for around P9, as both of them, I believe, pit. Arnoot takes the position, but Nitrous has a far better exit, retakes P9. Tom and Jack still very, very close. Jack, very nice turn 1, but clips the inside. Loses out what he was looking to gain. That gives Tom a little bit more of a gap. Arnoot and Nitrous side by side into the hairpin. Nitrous gets the better exit, side by side down the start finish straight. Nitrous has a bit of a wiggle. They are literally neck and neck. Gap, according to the standings, is half a tenth. Very, very close. Arnoot has a slightly weaker turn 1 and 2, but still right there with him. Into the next complex of corners. Arnoot slightly on the gravel. That will cost you time. It will just slide you out wide, and it has. He's out wide again, but Nitrous is also wide. That will lead to them making errors, and Arnoot does make an error into the barrier on the outside, and another one just to rub it in for him. He loses out this once, however, it's not over yet. He still has 21 laps remaining. Tom into the pits. 90.1, that will be a penalty for him. Just. He is barely over a penalty, but Tom will receive a penalty at the end of the race. I can't remember exactly what the penalty is, but that will spice things up extremely. Jack is still right there. Great is there as well now. Tom needs to get his foot down and really get away from them, because he needs to overcome the penalty for speeding. Very, very unlucky there for Tom. However, the 90 limit is there to give you a margin for 80 not to go right up to. And Tom did that and paid the price. This gives Jack and Great on opportunity, but Tom could easily make that gap back up. The gap is already around 2 seconds between them. However, where the battle's really at right now is between Cams and Terminator. Right inside of each other. Nitrous and Lucas are also very, very close. Terminator wide. Cam's also out wide. Cams onto the gravel. Terminator not. Terminator very wide into the wall. Lucas making a slight error, losing a bit of time to Nitrous, but Terminator ultimately lost the most out here. Big, big error from Terminator, clipping the wall. Rob is the current leader as he is yet to pit. Louis has also yet to pit, and it will be interesting to see where they come out. Rob is in a current position where he might actually be able to come around the position Tom. Louis makes another error into the wall in the corner of our screen. You see that he's not having a good race. He's made errors at the start and he's continuing to now. Currently he's looking to come around the point of Great or Cams. Tom has pulled a gap to Great and Cams, and Jack is in fact in the lead now. somewhere in between that, I managed to miss Jack taking the lead and Tom making an error. Jack is very close to that wall though. You don't want to do that. He very nearly wiped himself out and Tom takes the lead. Tom currently has the fastest lap of the session. I don't know when that was set, but Tom made an error around sector 2. And that will cost him, especially if he has that penalty. There are battles going on absolutely everywhere. There's a battle for the lead. There's a battle for a massive, massive battle for third. Between Cams, Louis, Nitrous, Lucas and Terminator are all just about there, but Louis is off. It's just between Nitrous and Cams now. Tom seems to have settled a little bit more again and is just pulling that little bit of a gap. If he makes another error, that will cede the position, but for now it's looking fairly set. Terminator retires, having to leave for various reasons. Cams also seems to have fairly settled his position in position 6. Zitanius into the pits, under the limit, and is out. Where will he come relative to Tom and Jack? In fact, Tom and Jack are out by a mile in front of him. I thought it would be a lot closer than that, but I obviously mistook this pit lane's length. Jack has a mistake into turn 1. Tom has now got a mighty gap. The battle for P2 is now on. Jack, Gray, and also Rob is in there as well. If either of these two slip up a little bit. Cams and Nitrous are battling over P5. And once again, nothing seems to have really come of it. Lucas and Louis are also close. The battling does not cease here. It will probably eventually spread out, but right now it is absolutely gone. Lucas hits the inside wall, turns in way too early. Loses the position, loses a significant chunk of time. Lucas seems to have a problem with this circuit in that he keeps running very, very wide in that corner, losing a significant amount of time and hitting the wall, which just risks you spinning. Nitrous and Cams reasonably close. Nitrous will be looking to jump a few people in the standings. He is very, very close to Sam and Phil in the standings, and even Toodles. A chunk of points at this event will see him climb 3 or 4 positions in the standings. So if he can finish well, that is already good. He already has a podium to his name. With how close everybody is, it won't take much for Nitrous to climb from 6th all the way up to 2nd. Louis is also there with Cams. They all clonked the wall. Rabbit was in the wall. Rikes was in the wall, I believe. Louis also clonked it. Cams side by side with Nitrous down the back straight. They are nose in arse. Cams takes the much tighter line, the much better line. Nitrous has a better exit but hits the wall and that's it over. Nitrous and Louis is now the battle to watch. Louis has not had a good race so far. He had a very good race one, but Nitrous is in the wall yet again. Louis not had the greatest of races, but he seems to be recovering reasonably well. He's in 5th. At 6th, I stand corrected. Was looking on for a very good 2nd. He finished 2nd in round 1. He's catching Cams very slowly through that section. Very good hairpin for him. Cams and Louis are slowly catching Jack and Zatanius, it looks like. Great is right there with Jack. So if this group can slowly converge, we'll get a 5-way battle for second. Meanwhile, from all of this, Tom is benefiting hugely. The gap is 3 seconds between them. Cam makes a big error, way too tight through there, runs him very, very deep. Louis up the inside, will take the position, is now into 5th. Cam's still there though to take anything on offer. Louis very good uphill chicane, but Cam's is actually slightly better. Both very tight lines. Very good line from Louis, but Cam's still sticking in there. Jack and Gray are also tussling for second. And Jack spins. Jack hits that grass that we were talking about earlier that affects the car so badly, and it affects him so badly he went for a full spin. Now it's between 3 cars. It's Rob, Jack, Louis and Cam's all there for position. All of this mess is giving Tom just more chance to run away. The gap is now 5 seconds. That was 3.1 last lap. Jack, very, very good exit there. He'll be absolutely fuming. He'll be looking to build right back up to where he was, because that was a very, very poor mistake. He's still on the podium, so it is not over yet. However, what was looking like a potential win for him is now looking a little bit worse. Rob makes an error, loses 2 positions out of it. This is a very, very close race. The second pit window will be opening soon. Everyone has done the first window, but now when Tom crosses the line, the second window will open and we'll see some more pit strategy once again. So far, I believe Tom is the only one with the penalty. He did 90.1 in the pits when your maximum allowance is 90. Tom has built an even bigger gap, as I believe Great made an error. 9 seconds is the gap between Tom and Great. Jack and Louis are there. Cams and Zatanius battling as well. Side by side. Cams runs wide yet again, loses some speed as he hits the wall. Zatanius on the gravel just that little bit, loses him just that bit of grip you need. Again into the wall, that's going to compromise him into here, but he manages to do it really, really well. Takes the position off of Cams, but it continues into this next section. You need to get your line right through here, otherwise it will lose you time. And Cams seem fairly equal through there. Still fairly equal, very, very close. Now this is what can really lose and gain you time, and it seems still to be close. Cams, however, has a very awkward line into there. Has to correct. Zatanius takes the position and is now up into 5th position briefly. Jack and Louis are still very close, however, up in the podium positions. Can Zatanius and Cams catch up to them? Zatanius does a very, very poor turn too. Cams back into P5. Zatanius having some struggles, it seems there. Took way too tight of a line. I would assume some veering. Cams retakes the position. Back into 5th. It can all change very, very quickly here. Once again, very, very challenging circuit. Easy to make errors on. And it seems like Tom along the lines made some sort of error as well. The gap came right down to 5 seconds. Rikes into the pits. Doesn't speed. Will we see anyone else taking the opportunity to pit? Doesn't look like we will. No, Louis does. Louis is in the pits and is under the limit. That looked like a very, very smooth pit there for him. Cams and Zatanius still going at it, hammer and tong. Cams once again takes a very, very tight line there, and it's compromising him very heavily. He's clonked that wall many times. Zatanius right back on him. Very differing lines there. Zatanius comes out slightly better, catches once again slightly into here, and Zatanius makes an error. It was quite easy to see that coming. You just see that he's took slightly too tight of a line, and once again he's lost time out of it. Tom around the last corner. Once again leading very well. Great into the pits. Is good on the line. Jack into the pits. Also good on the line. Zatanius into the pits. Very borderline there. Rabbit into the pits. Also good. Everyone is taking the opportunity now to pit. Jack is good. Nearly jumped his light there. Zatanius completes his final stop of the race. And on my end, that looked like he jumped it, but there is some lag that goes on, so I would assume he did in fact abide to that. However, if it is found he did jump it, that will probably be a hefty penalty. Yes. But I would assume that was in fact just a bit of Roblox lag. That will bring them out all together once again. They all pit together, so we will see where that brings them out in the grand scheme of things. Left to pit are Cams, Duskier, and Arnoot. Don't know why I said Duskier there. He's Tom. We know who he is. In fact, no, Arnoot isn't even in this race. I don't know what I'm saying. Tom through turn 2, very nearly hits that wall, and he got so close it looked like the game got confused. Rob and Jack going at it. Rob takes a very compromising line, dives Jack, but misses completely and runs very wide. Race is spread out a little bit, but there is a big battle going on for what is currently, I believe, third position, as you have Jack, Rob, Louis and Cams all going at it. No major position changes quite yet, but it's all looking set up for a mighty battle. Jack very close to that wall there. You could almost see him wincing. Cam's very good line there, very tight. Nearly takes the position off of Louis. Not quite. Louis wide. Doesn't seem to compromise him too badly. Through here, Louis very close. But that runs him very deep, and that's going to compromise him for the rest of the section. Cams doesn't seem close enough to capitalise. Cams takes an awkward line, but Louis crashes into the wall. Cams retakes the position. Louis loses out as a result. And Tom will need to pit at some point. It's currently looking reasonably close between them when they do. In fact, no, Tom has pit. Tom has an absolutely ginormous gap. He had such a big gap, I thought he hadn't pit yet. No, he has. 19-second gap. No matter what penalty you'd have given someone for speeding in the pits, it wouldn't matter. All Tom has to do now is bring it home for the final 8 laps. It'll be 7 once he crosses the line. And it will be yet another victory for him. Great, and Louis going at it. In fact, no, that isn't Louis. Who is that? I don't know who that is. That is Arnoot. Why Arnoot is on track, I do not know, seeing as he is 16 laps down currently. Okay, the gap is now down to 10 seconds. I guess he had just pit by that point. Still a very big gap. Still a gap that a penalty won't correct. However, Tom very deep into that corner. Loses a significant chunk of time. Didn't bin it into the wall, but certainly was not ideal. And he does bin it into the wall immediately after I say that. Great will have caught a significant chunk of time, assuming he doesn't make the same error Tom did. No, he doesn't. Very smooth through there. Tom's position might be under threat soon, and he makes yet another error. Tom is really struggling now. Something is going wrong for him. He needs to get his head down, as he has lost a significant portion of time. He's hit the wall again on a straight. Tom is having some major issues. Into turn 1 for Tom. He does still have the lead, and he does still have an 8-second gap. However, that was not good for Tom. He lost a significant portion of time there. He lost around 3 seconds to grate that lap alone. That's the sort of errors Tom does not want to make. No matter how quick you are, he nearly hits the wall again. No matter how quick you are, that is not a gap you can make back up when you make those sort of errors, unless you have a very, very quick car. It seems like there are things going on further back, as Arnout was collide, I believe, causing a significant amount of collisions. Louis hits the inside wall, loses out massively. However, the gaps are so big between drivers at this point, it doesn't matter. Tom has made up time that lap. Great was not quite as quick, and Tom needs to make up time. He will not be happy with himself after those set of errors. In fact, he'll probably be fuming. He's very much risking it all, getting as close to the barriers as he can, but sometimes that does not pay off at all. Very wide. Doesn't lose too much out of it though. Rabbit and Reich's now going a lap down. And just a few laps remaining. Everybody has pit at this point. And just 4 laps when Tom crosses the line for him to secure a second victory of the event. Little bit of a wobble there as he taps a bump. Jack very close there to those walls. And everything just seems to have spread out that little bit now. There is nothing particularly major going on. Indeed, everyone is pretty equally spaced out. About a second to 2 seconds between absolutely everybody. Not a lot to commentate on. However, Tom doing a stellar job at that. He had a bit of a crisis the midway through after making about 3 or 4 errors on 1 lap, but seems to be recovering a bit from it. Entering the final 3 laps. It has definitely settled down. I think we've had a couple retirements this race. We've had Arnout do some Arnout things, and Tom has managed to get into a little bit of a groove. Gap has in fact expanded significantly. Great maiden error that lap. Didn't quite catch it on my end, however, he'll know what he did. Jack, Rob and Cam's all within about the same distance of each other. They can see each other, but they can't quite touch them. Louis has had just an absolutely horrid race so far. 36 seconds off Tom, 7th position. After such a good race 1 for him, he will not be happy with race 2. He did say his consistency wasn't good. He looked good in practice, he looked reasonably good in race 1, but his qualifying and race 2 did look very, very dodgy. Getting onto the penultimate lap. And Zetanius is being caught by Cams very slowly. 2 laps for Cams to get past. Can he do it? Both fairly equal turn 1 and 2s there. Cams needs to pull out a couple of stellar laps or simply be a lot more consistent. Once again, taking that really tight and wide line. I don't know if it benefits him, but it's what he does. It seemed to work there. Very good from Cams there. Rob hits the wall. Cams immediately takes the position off of him. Rob now has a proper fight on his hand. The fight for 4th is on. Rob very wide. That sends him even wider for this corner. All Cams is doing is just taking a good line and gaps him like mad. Both are fairly calm down the hill. Into this section, if you run wide, you're screwed, and they both look okay, not good. Oh, and Rob has hit the wall. He braked really early there. That was not good, and that has cost him the position. Cam's had 2 laps to do it. He's done it with 1. Final lap for the leaders, for everybody. Tom coming through sector 2. He doesn't have to worry anymore. He's got a very, very substantial gap. Coming into the downhill corner, entering, or already having entered sector 3, the final few corners, this little flowing wiggly section. Tom will take his 2nd victory of the event and extend his Super Formula Championship lead. Tom is P1. Tom takes the victory. Very strong showing from Tom. Had a little wobble in the middle, but recovered very well. Great. Into 2nd. I think he did a bit of showboating. He probably shouldn't, because he could have lost that P2 there. Don't know quite what he was thinking, but he does take P2. Jack takes 3rd. Cams will take 4th from Rob. Rob nearly lost out to Nitrous there. Louis comes around the final corner. Not the race for him, but he does end up taking 7th. What's he get? He is seemingly letting Lucas through, and he has let Lucas through. I don't know what went on there, but apparently something obviously went on between Lucas and Louis decided just to let him through. Rabbit finishes 9th, 3 laps down, ranks in 10th. Your DNFers were Terminator and some... I don't exactly know what happened with Dan. He did 4 laps. I don't think he was really supposed to be racing. There is your podium. Tom, P1. Great P2. Jack rounds out the podium. Tom takes the fastest lap by 0.8 of a second, was 1/10 off of his practice time. I hope you have enjoyed this first stream, first attempt at commentary for me, and if people like it, I will continue doing it. However, for now, it is a goodbye.